pleasant good evening and a good night or a good morning to all of you tonight or this morning. This is Scott Manning coming to you live from Scott Manning YouTube Sports Talk. I want to apologize first of all for coming on the air an hour late. The Chiefs-Bills game had a lightning delay, and the Astros and the White Sox decided to play until the wee hours of the morning. Both games are still in progress, and as soon as either game goes final, I will pass it along to you. But we had a whale of a weekend in Major League Baseball, starting last night and also tonight, earlier in the night. We had two great games in the NFL that need to be worth talking about. The NASCAR Cup Series, the playoffs have been cut down from 12 to 8. And in the world of college football, Alabama went down, and the whole top 25 went a shaking and a shaking. I will have all of that tonight. We're going to go right into the show right after this.
Spanning the globe to bring you the constant variety of sport, the thrill of victory, and the agony of defeat. The human drama of athletic competition. This is ABC's Wide World of Sports.
Let's go ahead and get started. The Boston Red Sox beat the Tampa Bay Rays 6-4 in 13 innings. What a battle it was. It was a 5-hour marathon, well worth every moment of it. And what a game it was. For the Boston Red Sox, Enrique Hernandez, he was 3 for 6 with 1 run, a home run, 2 RBIs, he did strike out once. Kyle Schwarber, he was 3 for 5 tonight. 2 runs, a home run, an RBI, and he struck out once. Hunter Renfroe, he was 2 for 4 with a run and 2 walks. Christian Vasquez, the hero of the game. He was only 1 for 3, but that one was a big one. He hit the game-winning home run at the bottom of the 13th, which gave the Red Sox the victory. And Alex Vertigo, he was 1 for 6 with a strikeout. But what a performance by the Red Sox pitching staff. Nathan Eovaldi, he pitched 5 innings, gave up 3 hits, 2 earned runs, walked 1. Unfortunately, he gave up the home run, but he struck out 8. But Nick Pivetta came out with a win tonight. He pitched 4 innings, gave up 3 hits, 1 walk, struck out 7. That was huge tonight. As for the Tampa Bay Rays, what can I say? Wander Franco, he was 2 for 6 with 2 runs, a home run, and an RBI. Austin Meadows, he was 2 for 4 with a run, and he had a double in the ball game, by the way. He had a home run and 2 RBIs. Randy Arozarena, he was 1 for 5. He had a double, an RBI. He walked once and struck out twice. Nelson Cruz, he was 1 for 3 with a run. He had 1 walk and he struck out once. But there were 2 guys that went a combined 0 for 12 and had 7 strikeouts. Brandon Lowe was 0 for 6. He struck out 3 times. Mike Zunino, he was 0 for 6 and struck out 4 times. As a matter of fact, the Tampa Bay bats tonight were bad. They had 20 strikeouts by the time the game was over. And that was a nightmare. And as for the starting pitching, Drew Rasmussen only pitched 2 innings, gave up 6 hits, 3 earned runs, a home run, and only struck out 1. Luis Patino, he gets the loss tonight. He was the one that gave up the home run to Christian Vasquez in the 13th. He pitched an inning in the 3rd, gave up a hit, 2 earned runs, a walk, and he struck out once. Game 4 is set for Monday night. I don't have the Rays starter because the Tampa Bay Rays are keeping it a mystery. Ooh. But I can tell you this. The Boston Red Sox will be sending Eduardo Rodriguez to the mound. He has a 13-8 record with a 4.74 ERA and 185 strikeouts during the regular season. Keep that in mind as we get ready for Game 4 on a Monday night. All right. It's 0-2 in Chicago. It's 12-6 White Sox. Let's see what happens. And the White Sox just got the win as I'm on the air right now. Just 2 seconds ago, the Chicago White Sox are still alive after a 12-6 victory over the Houston Astros in Chicago tonight. A big win for the White Sox. They needed it. Now we'll have a Game 4 on Monday. But get ready. There's going to be fireworks in Chicago. Both American League games were crazy and lengthy. I'll put it that way. Now, let's move on to the National League. On Saturday, the Atlanta Braves shut out the Milwaukee Brewers 3-0 to level the series at a game apiece. Willie Adams, he was 1 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. Avisail Garcia, his bat was cold. 1 for 4, struck out 3 times. Eduardo Escobar, 0 for 4, struck out twice. Christian Yelich, 1 for 3, he struck out twice. As a matter of fact, those 4 bats I mentioned for the Brewers, they were combined 3 for 15 with 10 strikeouts. Think about that. And Brandon Woodruff gets the loss. He pitched 6 solid innings, 5 hits, 3 earned runs. He gave up a home run, unfortunately. Struck out 7 and walked 1. As for the Atlanta Braves and their big victory, Austin Riley, he was 2 for 4 with a run, a home run, 1 RBI, but he did strike out once. Freddie Freeman, he was 1 for 3 with a run, 1 RBI, a walk, and he struck out once. Ozzie Albies, 1 for 4 with a double, an RBI, and a strikeout. Max Fry pitched a gem. He pitched a web gem. He pitched 6 solid innings, gave up 3 hits, struck out 9. Luke Jackson, give him some love. He may have only pitched 2/3 of an inning, but he only gave up 1 hit, walked 1, struck out 2. Tyler Haddock, he pitched an inning in the 3rd, gave up 1 hit, walked 1, and struck out 3. Those 2 get holds. And Will Smith gets the save. He pitched an inning, gave up a hit, and he only walked 1. So now the series is level. And now the series moves to Milwaukee on Monday afternoon. This is the 1 o'clock game Monday on TBS. The Milwaukee Brewers on Monday are going to be sending Freddie Peralta to the mound. He had a 10-5 record with a 2.81 ERA and 195 strikeouts during the regular season. And who are the Atlanta Braves going to be sending to the mound? Ian Anderson. He had a 9-5 record during the regular season with a 3.58 ERA and 124 strikeouts during the regular season. Game 3 is on Monday afternoon. And it's the first game. It's a 1 o'clock first pitch on TBS. Very funny. But what a game it was just on Saturday between the Braves and the Brewers. And there's nothing more you can say about that. All right, let's move on. The Los Angeles Dodgers beat up the San Francisco Giants 9-2 on Saturday night. And it was a big one. Will Smith, he was 1 for 4 with 2 runs, a home run, 1 RBI, and he walked once. A.J. Pollock, much better for him. 2 for 3 with a run. He had a double, 2 RBIs, a walk, but he did strike out once. Chris Taylor, he was 2 for 4 with 3 runs, a double, and a walk of his own. And Cody Bellinger, the former MVP candidate, he was 1 for 4 with a run, a double, 2 RBIs, but he did strike out 3 times. And Julio Reyes got the win in a nice way. He pitched 5 solid innings, gave up 3 hits, 1 earned run, a walk. He struck out 5. And a big win for him. But as far as the San Francisco Giants go, there wasn't much to cheer about out in Frisco. That's all I can say. Buster Posey, he was 3 for 4 with a double, but he struck out once. Brandon Crawford, he was 2 for 4 with an RBI. Now it's just about it. And as far as the Giants go, Kevin Guzman gets the loss. He pitched 5 1/3, gave up 4 hits, 4 earned runs, walked 3, but he did strike out 7. Now, what about Game 3 on Monday night? This is the Monday night game at 9:30 on TBS. The Dodgers are going to be sending Max Scherzer to the mound. He had a 15-4 record during the regular season with a 2.46 ERA and 236 strikeouts to his credit. Who are the San Francisco Giants going to be sending to the mound? How about Alex Wood? A 10-4 record with a 3.83 ERA and 152 strikeouts to his credit. That is going to be an interesting matchup come Monday. We'll see what happens on Monday night. The series moves to Dodger Stadium, Chavez Ravine, whatever you want to call it. But they got a split in San Francisco, and that was huge. Now, we'll see what the Giants and the Dodgers are really made of, what both teams are really made of. The two hottest teams in all of Major League Baseball, Game 3 Monday night, we'll see what happens. And now, let's move on to the NASCAR Cup Series. The NASCAR Cup Series today was at the Charlotte Roval. 4 drivers were eliminated from any chance at the championship. Kevin Harvick, Christopher Bell, William Byron, and Alex Bowman, they're done. Their championship hopes are over. And let's think about this for a minute. A big win today. Kyle Larson came home the winner. Tyler Reddick finished second. Chris Buescher came home third. A nice run for him today. Kyle Busch secured a spot for himself in the championship chase. Denny Hamlin finished fifth to round out the top 5. Matthew Benedetto trying to secure a ride for next year. He finished 6th. Joey Logano, he finished 7th. Christopher Bell, not enough, but he had a nice 8th place finish, but it wasn't enough to keep him in the battle for the title. Ryan Blaney finished 9th, and Alex Bowman rounded out the top 10, not enough to get them in. Now the round of 8 gets underway this coming Sunday at the Texas Motor Speedway. And the remaining 8 are Denny Hamlin, the point leader. Kyle Larson, he's second in the points. Joey Logano is third. Brad Keselowski, 4th. Martin Truex Jr., 5th. Ryan Blaney, 6th. Chase Elliott, 7th. Kyle Busch is 8th. Those 8 drivers are going to compete for a championship battle for the championship 4. The first race is at Texas. Then it moves on to Kansas. And then we round it out at Martinsville. Good luck to all 8 drivers. You're going to need it. You're going to Texas where anything can happen. And it usually does. I haven't forgotten about the Texas Motor Speedway, y'all. And that's all there is to it. All right. That's your NASCAR Cup Series Major League Baseball playoff battles as we look right now. Now, before I go any further in the NFL, the Buffalo Bills have beat the Kansas City Chiefs 38-20 as we talk right now. The Bills got a huge win over the Chiefs. I apologize, I don't have any of that information, but the game ended late. It's almost 12:45 on the East Coast of the United States. And right now, it's way past people's bedtimes in this part of the country. But the Kansas City Chiefs have lost again. They're back under 500, and the reigning AFC champs are in trouble. But as far as the Buffalo Bills go, a great win for the Bills, and they need it. But we also did have 2 awesome games in the world of the NFL. The Los Angeles Chargers beat the Cleveland Browns 47-42 today. It was a huge day. 1 tie, 8 lead changes, 4 alone in the fourth, 4 lead changes alone in the fourth quarter. And both teams combined to score 41 points in the fourth quarter alone. It was crazy. There was 1,024 yards of total offense between the 2 teams. Unbelievable. But a big win at that. Justin Herbert, he was 26 of 43, 398 yards, 4 touchdowns. And he even carried the ball 4 times for 29 yards and ran one touchdown in on his own. Austin Eckler, 17 carries, 66 yards, 2 touchdowns. And he also had 5 catches for 53 yards and a touchdown. He had 119 total yards on offense by himself. There's your player of the game. And Mike Williams, 8 catches, 165 yards, and 2 touchdowns for the Chargers today. A big win. And as far as the Cleveland Browns go, Baker Mayfield, he was 23 of 32 for 305 yards and 2 touchdowns. Nick Chubb, 21 carries, 161 yards, and a touchdown of his own. Kareem Hunt, 12 carries, 61 yards. He had 2 touchdowns on the day. And David Noiku, he had 7 catches, 149 yards, and a touchdown for himself. I mean, the Cleveland Browns had 531 yards on offense. And in the rushing department, the Browns know how to run. The Browns outrushed the Chargers today 230 to 112. That's huge. But unfortunately, the Browns were penalized 7 times for 77 yards. And despite the fact they had the ball for over 36 minutes, they still got beat. In the final minute and a half, when the Browns were driving down the field, with about a minute and a half, they won 3 plays and only gained like maybe 10, 15 yards. And that was it. If I was Baker Mayfield, I would have thrown some shots down, taken a few shots downfield in a position like this. And they even tried a Hail Mary in the closing seconds. It backfired, unfortunately. So the Browns have dropped to 3-2. But the Chargers are now 4-1 in the AFC West. And what a big day it was for them. They got the job done. My congrats to the Chargers. Now, the Green Bay Packers beat the Cincinnati Bengals 25-22 in overtime on a Mason Crosby 49-yard field goal. I'll get to that in a minute. But first, Aaron Rodgers, 27 of 39, 344 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Aaron Jones, 14 carries, 103 yards. Devontae Adams, 11 catches, 206 yards, and a touchdown. Chris Barnes, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss. Preston Smith, give him a little love on defense. 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss for him today. As for the Cincinnati Bengals, they fall short again. Joe Burrow, 26 of 38, 281 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Not enough. Joe Mixon, 10 carries, 33 yards, and a touchdown. He didn't do much of anything. Jamar Chase, 6 catches, 159 yards, and a touchdown on the day. Not enough. But the one guy I feel the most sorry for is Trey Hendrickson. 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss. And it wasn't enough. But I want to get back to Mason Crosby for just a second. Crosby. He nailed a 41-yard game-winning field goal. He missed 3 field goals earlier in the game. How in the world did the Bengals manage to How in the world did the Packers manage to survive the Bengals? We don't know. But they got the win. And now, as they get ready, as we wrap up the NFL version of the show, let's think about this. The Bills beat the Chiefs. The defending AFC champions are not being themselves. Is it the is the Chiefs' glory days slowly coming to an end? Or is the AFC so very competitive? A lot of people are still thinking the Browns are the team to beat. The Chargers beat them today on some questionable calls. One very questionable call was called an offensive pass interference when it should have been called the other way around. I'll address that another time. But a big win today for both the Chargers and the Packers over the Browns and the Bengals, respectively. How disappointing it is for the state of Ohio on this day. All right, everybody. Before I move on, I want to take myself a little song break. I'm trying to find something here that's a little bit of a sports thing. Let's see what I can come up with here. Nah, you know what? I'm not going to take a song break tonight because it's after midnight, and you know what? It's late into the night, and I have other things I want to talk about. So, no song break tonight. I will take 2 song breaks during the show on Friday to make up for it. How's that sound? Sound good? Good. Let's move on. Let's move on to college football. Texas A&M upset number 1 Alabama 41-38 on a Saturday night. What a moment it was. And what a great game. And I'll tell you what, it was a beautiful victory for the Texas A&M Aggies. And College Station was rocking all night long. And let's think about this for a minute. In Alabama's college football playoff hopes dashed? Well, this doesn't help. If they lose one more game, count them out. But anyway, I'll address that another time. But anyway, what a game it was Saturday night. Zach Ozada, he was 21 of 31, 285 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. Isaiah Spiller, 17 carries, 46 yards, and a touchdown on his own. And Arius Smith, 6 catches, 85 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jalen Windemeyer, 3 catches, 73 yards, and a touchdown. Devon Ashney, he had a 96-yard kickoff return for a touchdown, which it took the momentum right away from Alabama. That was huge. Tyree Johnson, I want to give some love to the defense. Tyree Johnson, 2 sacks, 2 tackles for loss. Michael Clemens, he had 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss. And Leon O'Neal Jr., give him some love. 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss in the ball game. As for Alabama, it was not their night. Bryce Young, he was 28 of 48, 369 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. Brian Robinson Jr., 24 carries, 147 yards. You got to be kidding me. Jamison Williams, 10 catches, 146 yards, 2 touchdowns. But the Bama defense had no sacks in the game. They were not able to register 1 sack, and the defense stayed home. And it showed. But I've been thinking about this too. You know, all those assistants that used to be under Nick Saban at Alabama? Jimbo Fisher has become the first former Saban assistant to beat his old boss. That was huge. And Alabama's 100-game win streak against unranked opponents, gone by the wayside. And their win streak that dated back to last year, right after the Iron Bowl in 2019, gone. I mean, I couldn't believe it. Alabama, 25 first downs, over 500 yards total offense, 522 to be exact. Texas A&M only had 379 yards total offense, and Alabama outrushed them 153-94. But yet, 2 costly turnovers, a fumble and an interception, cost Alabama. And that is what had everybody talking. Texas A&M upset the number 1 team in the nation at home in College Station. There was a celebration like you wouldn't believe. And I may be addressing Texas A&M here in a minute. Stay tuned. All right, the next game I want to talk about. You heard it here first. The battle, the Big Ten battle that had everybody talking. Number 4, Penn State. Number 3, Iowa, in the nation's heartland, up in Iowa City. A Big Ten battle that's going to have everybody talking. Even outside the Big Ten, even in the state of Ohio, the state of Michigan, and even in the SEC and the Big 12. Okay. For the Iowa Hawkeyes, Spencer Petras. He was 17 of 31, 195 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Nico Ragaini. I apologize if I mispronounce some of these names. My apologies. Nico Ragaini. 4 receptions, 4 catches, 73 yards, and a touchdown. And DeAndre Craig, he had 1 sack and 1 tackle for loss in the game. For Penn State, they were a whole nother team when Sean Clifford left the game with an injury. But before I address that, Sean Clifford, he was 15 of 25 for 146 yards, 2 interceptions. He was 7 of 21 for 34 yards, and he had 2 interceptions. You know something? I was thinking about it. Everybody's been saying to me how crazy it was on Saturday. It was a big victory, and we needed it. And that's the bottom line. A big win for Iowa. But I will give the Iowa defense a lot of credit. Noah Kane, they've been talking how big and bad he was going to be. The Iowa defense held him to 24 total yards. That was it. Jahan Dotson, he was averaging 12.7 yards per rush. Iowa shut him down to 6 yards per rush on Saturday. And Sean Clifford, when he left the game with an injury, that was the turning point. Penn State had nothing. Daquan Robinson, 7 of 21 for 34 yards, 2 interceptions. But think about this. Iowa, 18 first downs, 305 yards total offense. Penn State, 18 first downs, 287 yards total offense. But the huge thing that stuck out, Penn State, 4 turnovers. They turned the ball over 4 times. You can't do that against a team like Iowa. But I will say this, though. The late Hayden Fry was smiling down upon Iowa City in Kinnick Stadium. This is Iowa's first top 5 matchup win since 1985. Number 1 Iowa beat number 2 Michigan 12-10. It's been that long. That's the truth of the matter. A big win for the Hawkeyes. They have proven to me, for now, I'm being cautious, they have proven to me that they can run with the big boys. And it's proven. And it's being proven already. Iowa got a big win over Penn State. That was a big one. All right. Let's move on. BYU's undefeated streak ended at the hands of Boise State on Saturday night, 26-17, as Boise State got an upset. For Boise State, Hank McMahon, he was 15 of 29 for 172 yards, and that was it. Cyrus Habibi Likius, he had 18 carries for 75 yards and a touchdown. Andrew Van Buren, 18 carries for 60 yards and a touchdown. Scott Matlock, give him some love. He had 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss. As for BYU, it was a nightmare. Jaron Hall, 22 of 37 for 302 yards, 1 touchdown and an interception. Tyler Allgeier, 19 carries, 73 yards and a touchdown. Gunnar Romney, 4 catches, 102 yards for a touchdown. Boise State had 312 yards total offense in this game. And both teams did have 24 first downs. But BYU had 4 costly turnovers. 1 interception. They had 3 costly fumbles. And that's what killed the BYU Cougars on Saturday night. This was a game that everybody was thinking they could go into. Boise State was thinking they can go into Provo and score an upset. By golly, that's exactly what they did. Congratulations to the Boise State Broncos. You guys got the huge job done, and it was a big victory for you guys, and a well-deserved one at that. And that's the bottom line. All right. I want to focus on the 2 big noon games from Saturday. I know I should have did this Saturday night, but I didn't think about it. I was so happy about Texas A&M upsetting Alabama. That's why. All right. Let's move on. Number 17 Ole Miss beat number 13 Arkansas when Arkansas got done and went for a 2-point conversion instead of going for a tie to force overtime. So Ole Miss survives. And it was a big win at that. Matt Corral, 14 of 21, 287 yards, 2 touchdowns. Henry Parrish Jr., 18 carries, 111 yards. And that was it for him. Snoop Connor, he had 12 carries for 110 yards and 3 touchdowns. He did a lot of damage. Brylan Sanders, 2 catches, 127 yards and a touchdown. Dontario Drummond, 2 catches, 78 yards and a touchdown. That was a big, big win. As for the Arkansas Razorbacks, J.J. Jefferson, 25 of 35, 326 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. He also carried the ball 20 times for 85 yards and 3 touchdowns. Raheem Sanders, 17 carries, 139 yards. Traylon Burks, he had 7 catches for 136 yards and a touchdown. Warren Thompson, 4 catches of 76 yards and a touchdown of his own. And Trey Knox, he had 5 catches for 37 yards and a touchdown on that one. And it wasn't enough, though. This game had 1,287 yards total offense. I mean, Ole Miss only had 22 first downs, and they still got the job done. And think about this. Both teams really know how to run the ball. Arkansas had 350 yards rushing. Ole Miss is 324. Now, despite the fact that Ole Miss got flagged 8 times for 75 yards, they still won. When Arkansas's 2 costly turnovers really hurt them. And Arkansas had the ball for over 35 minutes. Think about that. And that's the truth of the matter, everybody. The SEC West race, it looks like it's going to come down to Alabama, maybe Arkansas, maybe Auburn can shock everybody at the end of the year like they did 2 seasons ago down at Jordan-Hare. I'm going to be honest with you. Arkansas's loss knocked them right out of the SEC West race. But is it clear who can win the SEC West? We just don't know at this point. And honestly, it's going to come down to who wants it the most. Get ready for fireworks towards the end of the season. Now, the last game I want to talk about, you guessed it, the Red River Shootout. Number 6 Oklahoma, number 25 Texas. This game was Oklahoma had to come back down 21 with time running out. Think about this. Caleb, and that was a great victory for Oklahoma, by the way. Caleb Williams, he was 16 to 25, 212 yards, 2 touchdowns. He even carried the ball four times for 28 yards. He had a touchdown on the ground. Spencer Radler, he was 8 of 15 for 111 yards and an interception. He got benched during the game for that. Kennedy Brooks, give him some love. 25 carries, 217 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Marvin Mims, 5 catches, 136 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Nick Bonito, he needs some love. 1.5 sacks, 1.5 tackles for loss. Perion Winfrey, 1 sack, 2 tackles for loss in that game. As for the Texas Longhorns, Casey Thompson, he was 20 of 34, 388 yards, 5 touchdowns. Bijan Robinson, 20 carries, 137 yards, and a touchdown of his own. Xavier Worthy, a big game for him. 9 catches, 261 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And Joshua Moore, 4 catches for 70 yards, and he had 2 touchdowns of his own. Think about this for a minute. If you look at what happened in this game on Saturday between Texas and Oklahoma, it was a big, big win. Texas had 19 first downs. And in the rushing department, OU outrushed Texas 339 to 128. Texas got flagged 6 times for 28 yards. This was a fairly clean game if you think about it. Oklahoma only got nailed twice for 2 penalties for 15 yards. That was it. And I'm going to tell you something. This game was as crazy as it could get. But it was a big win for the Oklahoma Sooners. And I'm going to tell you something. If you look at this game, I'm going to do a little quick math here. And I do apologize. I should have done this sooner. But it is what it is. There was 1,118 yards total offense in the Red River Shootout. And I'll tell you what. Kennedy Brooks ran the final touchdown in. All Oklahoma had to do was just get a first down and try to get a field goal shot. But Kennedy Brooks had other ideas. He got the game-winning touchdown in that game on Saturday. And it showed. And the truth is, it was a great weekend in college football. And it was also a weekend for everything to get all messed up. Here's what I mean. The new AP Top 25 poll came out. And there were some huge changes in the top 25. Listen to this. Georgia is the new number 1 in the country. Number 2, Iowa. Are the Hawkeyes for real? They still got a huge home test against Michigan coming up. Number 3, Cincinnati. The Cincinnati Bearcats are number 3 in the country. Oklahoma, their comeback win over Texas propelled them to the number 4 spot. Alabama dropped 4 spots to number 5. Ohio State's big win over Maryland, 66-17, gets them up 1 spot up to number 6. Penn State, that loss, and we don't know how long Sean Clifford's going to be out, but Penn State dropped 3 spots to number 7. Michigan, despite the fact they had to kick a late field goal to beat Nebraska, moved up 1 spot to number 8. Oregon, they lost 1 spot. They dropped to number 9. Michigan State, no one's thought about the Spartans, an old Sparty. They moved up 1 spot to number 10 this week. Kentucky. Has anybody forgotten that the Kentucky Wildcats are 5-0? Well, I don't think Georgia has. They got to face them next Saturday. Kentucky moved up 5 spots to number 11. Coming in at number 12, Oklahoma State. And they got a battle against Texas this coming Saturday. Coming in number 13 this week, Ole Miss. A huge win last Saturday helped Ole Miss, propelled them. They moved up 4 spots to number 13. Coming in at number 14 this week, Notre Dame. I'm kind of surprised they stayed where they're at because they had to kick a late field goal to beat Virginia Tech. Coming in at number 15 this week, Coastal Carolina. Coming in at number 16 this week, Wake Forest. There's a team that wants to win the ACC crown, and it's showing already. Coming in at number 17 this week, Arkansas. Arkansas dropped 4 spots after that heartbreaker over Ole Miss. Coming in at number 18 this week, Arizona State. They jumped 4 spots in the poll. Coming in at number 19 this week, BYU, the biggest loser, dropped 9 spots. Ouch. Coming in at number 20 this week, Florida, no change. Coming in at number 21, Texas A&M. Welcome back to the AP Top 25. You guys coming at number 21 this week. Coming in at number 22 this week, NC State. They moved up 1 spot in the polls. Coming in at number 23, SMU. They moved up 1. At number 24 this week is San Diego State. They moved up 1 spot. And coming in at number 25, Texas. They dropped 4 spots. It's a miracle they're still in there, but apparently they just got enough love to be in the top 25 this week. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for my closing thoughts. I want to apologize to you folks for coming on the air so late. I was waiting for a football game and a baseball game to finally come to an end. There was a lightning delay in the Kansas City area, which delayed the second half of the Bills-Chiefs game tonight. Then we had the White Sox and the Astros who decided to play into the wee hours of the morning. But this weekend has finally come to a close. We still have Division Series baseball still going on, and I will have videos during the week to bring you up to date on what happened throughout the week. I just want to take this opportunity to thank you guys so much for being with me here tonight. We had a great show. I know it was a very late start, but it happens. I will be back here Friday at 12 noon for the Scott Manning YouTube Sports Weekend Kickoff Show. And with the weekend wrap, Sunday night at 11:30 or later, I will let you know if that happens. I want to thank you guys so much for being with me here tonight. Thank you so much for being with me, and God bless. Good night, everybody, and I thank you.